So if you're watching this video, you're probably working on your stoichiometry skills, or maybe you missed class or our Zoom stopped working. And so that's why I made this video of an extra problem of a chemical reaction that we've done in some classes, but not all, depending on time. In this single replacement reaction, you can see that copper it reacts with a solution of silver nitrate. The copper replaces the silver in silver nitrate and frees up the silver, and so that the silver is by itself. Then the copper is with the nitrate. And so one of the things that you may take a look at with this equation, you might go like, well, wait a minute, that looks like 1 mole of copper produces 2 moles of silver. Can that be? Yes, as long as you have enough silver nitrate, as long as silver nitrate doesn't limit your reaction. So as long as you have enough of that silver nitrate, yes, this reaction can go as planned. So one of the questions that I asked in class was, okay, well, let's say that you had 500 grams of copper. Now, of course, you've got to have excess silver nitrate. That's the word that we use for that. Silver nitrate, how much silver could you make? So you have 2 ways to solve a problem like this. You can use the chart, or you can use fractions. In order to do either one, you're going to need your periodic table and a calculator. And so if you wish to use the fractions, what I generally say is start with what you are given, which is 500 grams of copper, and put that over 1. And the next thing you're going to want to look at is the molar mass. What is the molar mass of copper? So if you look on your periodic table, you should find underneath of copper the molar mass, and that is 63.5 grams per mole. So 63.5 grams of copper is 1 mole of copper. And so that is our next part of the equation. So you can write that as a fraction, 63.5 grams of copper over 1 mole of copper, or you can write 1 mole of copper over 63.5 grams of copper. And so how do you write that? Well, you want to write that so that these grams of copper will diagonally drop. So one of the things that I think about is back to my days in math class. And if I had a problem like this, x cubed times 3 over x cubed, what does that equal? Well, if I'm looking at that problem, I'm going to try to simplify it. And so the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is cancel out these x cubes. And so this is going to equal 3/4. In chemistry, we cancel things out, or what I like to call diagonally drop, because that's kind of what we're doing here. And so when we're looking at the molar mass, we can fill it in like this, so that 1 mole of copper is 63.5 grams of copper. And so now you can see that those grams of copper, I've got them squeezed in there, are going to diagonally drop. Our grams of copper have canceled out. And so if we're looking at this math here, we now have 500, that's going to be moles of copper, and divided by 63.5. Grams of copper are gone. So 500 divided by 63.5 is going to be 7.87 moles of copper is what we're going to get here. Now, 0.87, hopefully you can see that. And that's moles of copper. And you could put that down here as well. So if you're going to use the chart, that is fine. And what you do is if you're going down, you divide. So that's how we knew to divide 500 divided by 63.5. So how many moles of silver can we make? Well, this is where we now have to use our balanced equation, because our balanced equation tells us that 1 mole of copper gives us 2 moles of silver. So we can also write that as a fraction. 2 moles of silver over 1 mole of copper, or 1 mole of copper over 2 moles of silver. And so if you simply bring that your moles of copper over. We know that 7.87 moles of copper. You can put that over 1 if that helps you. That 1 is just a placekeeper, not used for anything else, but just a placekeeper. And so if we look at our balanced equation tells us that 2 moles of silver is equal to 1 mole of copper. Your moles of copper now will cancel out or diagonally drop. And so you're left with 7.87 times 2. As you do that 7.87 times 2, we've got 15.74 moles of silver. And you could have looked at the same thing from the chart because you can see it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So you could simply multiply that by 2. So 15.74 moles of silver. And now we want to figure out grams of silver. So in order to go from moles to grams, this is where we need our molar mass. So if you look at your periodic table, as I'm looking at mine right now and find silver, you'll probably find something around 107.9. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm writing that in the wrong place. Please disregard that. I should be writing it here where it says molar mass. 107.9 grams per mole. So if you're going up the chart, you simply multiply. And so 15.74 times 107.9 is going to give us 1,698.3 grams of silver. A lot of silver. And so using the chart, that's how you would do that. If you're going to use the fractions, we'd again set up that fraction with the molar mass. We need our moles of silver to cancel out. So that's going to go on the bottom. 1 mole of silver. And our molar mass, again, 107.9 grams. And so your moles of silver are going to cancel out, and you're going to be left with 1,698.3 grams of silver. So this is how you solve those types of stoichiometry problems. I hope this helps you.